Alrighty, let's talk about games. Gaming in all its glory and manifold fun. Not manifold. There's a word. I can't think of it right now, but who cares? How's it going? Still a little bit cuffy, but it's alright. I'm gonna be able to talk for the most part, I believe. Maybe I'll prove myself wrong, but until then, there's nobody here anyway yet, pretty much. So we're just gonna chill. A few people are there. How are you doing? It's Saturday, so hopefully well. Yeah. I'm just gonna exercise my eyebrows a little bit until we get started. In case anybody says anything that deserves some major evil eye. I never understood why they call it pink eye. Pink eye. That's a good start. Stink eye. Like stink eye? Huh? Evil eye. I think it's a more appropriate term. That's technically something else that's like magical and stuff, but I feel like might sort of work. Or, skipped eye. You know, skeptical eye? Skipped eye. Does sound like something you could contract. You know? Oh no, I caught some skipped eye. I need some eye drops. What the hell am I talking about? Alright, how about some memes, some memes. Everybody loves the memes, right? There's some gaming memes. You're 24, you're not a kid anymore, why are you still playing video games? Grow up. Like, who says that? What kind of mega boomer says that? I can't even imagine anybody actually saying that in this day and age. It's like in the 80s or 90s still, like, okay. Early 2000s, already that's kind of outdated. Now, in 2024, can't imagine anybody still saying that. Like, come on. Gaming has become mainstream. Accept it. You didn't get to play any video games as a kid. Finally trying out an old game I always wanted to play on my recently bought shitty laptop. Aw, that's just mean. That's just tragic right there, you know. Thank you, Peter. Play Gray Zone Warfare once released. What is Gray Zone Warfare? I have not seen that. Let me just quickly check that out. Gray Zone Warfare. Tactical FPS. Meh. Nah. Nah, I'm not into those anymore. I used to be for a little while, but these days, like, nah. It's too boring for me these days. Why does it not load? I mean, what does it matter? They all look the same, pretty much. They tend to all look the same. Yeah. I mean, they would, you know, when you do like a realistic tactical shooter, they all gotta look the same, pretty much. And they all play the same for the most part too. I mean, okay, open world, that's neat. I also never really like squad-based shooters. I mean, if you actually play it with people, I guess that's all right. But if it's squad-based and you're playing with AI and the AI is dumb as bricks, it's not fun. You know, like they constantly get shot and you gotta babysit them and everything. It's just, tedious. I'd rather play something where you're like the lone badass with high-tech gear or whatever, you know? It's a little bit more fun, like Crysis. I don't mean to talk crap about your taste in games, Peter. Just to make that clear, right? If you're excited for the game, then, you know, more power to you. It's just not for me. At this point. I used to appreciate them a lot more, but not so much anymore. It's a thing, you know? I tend to have phases anyway that I go through where I'm like, in a particular phase, I'm mainly looking for this and that kind of game, you know? And it's been a little bit frustrating lately, I gotta say. Because, like, generally lately, the mood I've been in for the most part has been open world sandbox crafting and base building kind of game, you know? But the problem is then you know, as I play a bunch of them, it's just like, okay, it's all the same. It's all grindy. It's all, you know, I've played that same thing so many times over and over again. And I don't know, I guess I'm a little burned out on it, even though I'm in the mood for it. It's just, what you got to do about that? It's a bit of a conundrum. But this has been an issue in general lately. Like, the older I get, the more impatient I am with a lot of stuff, and the more jaded I am, because like I've tried this before, I've played this hundreds of times, I've played that, I like it, but I'm just kind of craving something fresh and new, which just doesn't exist for the most part. Yeah. Thank you for the monetary appreciation once again, some person. And I also have the typical problem quite often of, you know, I got hundreds of games in my Steam library, but nothing I feel like playing. I don't know really what the cause is. Is it just getting older, you know, having played so much already? Is it just an ADHD thing where you constantly crave novelty and everything wears off eventually? And it does seem to get a little bit worse with age. You'd think it gets better, but it seems like it actually gets worse. Or is it just the fact that there's such an overabundance of games now? Where, you know, whereas when I was a kid, it was like you save up your allowance and you can buy like one game every couple of months if you're lucky, or like twice or three times a year, and then that's what you got. Like, even if you ended up with a crappy game, you played it because that's what you got. The same way as renting games. You know, like you rent a game for the weekend, it's crap, but you're like, well, that's what I got. I better play it, but better make it count, you know? And that could also be. Whereas now there's such an abundance, it's like browsing Netflix, you know, there's hundreds of options, and you're like, whatever, man. Just commitment issues. I don't know. Have you ever played the Postal games back in the day? I have, yeah. That was back in the day, that was something a little different. Very controversial, obviously. I think nowadays it would not even raise eyebrows anymore. Probably. Let's see, what other gaming memes we got here? Hang on. Boom. Why did this not load? What is... No? Why does stuff suddenly just not load for me? I don't know. Oh yeah, this one. I'm definitely interested in seeing how it is. You know, like, you're a time traveler with guns in the Middle Ages, and there's like a third-person shooter part, there's a strategy part, you can just form alliances with various factions and all that, which seems super cool, unless they screw it up, which I don't know. I do not know. But I want to try it out. Uh-huh. That's actually pretty close, legit. Yeah, Utopian Europe, 60 hertz. It's, I don't know, this 50 hertz slash FPS is kind of weird to me. Like, why settle for that? I know there's like a technological history to it. There's a reason for it, but either way. Do you think this is another gaming crash like 83? Some people say that, and I don't know, maybe. I mean, there's definitely some worrying trends that have been going on for a while, and definitely the ruthless over-monetization of games is part of it. Making them more expensive, more and more ridiculous microtransactions and all that. And now, of course, they keep getting rid of more and more artists and developers to replace them with AI. I don't think that's going to bode well at all. It's going to be more and more slop. Okay. I played Alone in the Dark 2 back in the day. Like 95-ish on the PS1. And at the time, I liked it, even though it was a little bit difficult to navigate, a little bit cryptic and all that. But nowadays, oh my goodness, has it not aged well. I mean, the first Resident Evil hasn't aged super well, but way better than Alone in the Dark 2, let alone the first. They are just... You can't even look at that anymore. You know what I mean? Real innovation is done in indie space these days. Yeah, for the most part. What really annoys me is that like open world, like large scale RPGs where choices matter and you have a customizable character and all that, in the style of Elder Scrolls and Fallout, they've pretty much just died. I mean, maybe we'll get another Elder Scrolls in 10 years or so, who knows what, but god damn it, it left such a hole. That's what I want to be playing right now, but there's nothing. And hasn't been for many, many years. Like over a decade. Like, come on. What the hell? You can't just abandon such a good genre. But guess it's just too much work now. Okay, I don't get that one. Yep, that's a classic. That meme has circulated for a long time. Still relevant. And it's just a variation of it, basically. What? Yeah, that's enough gaming memes. Those are pretty bad. Kinda garbage tier for the most part, you know? Whatever. Maybe my standards are too high, but that's just meh. Mid, as the kiddies say, right? Starfield tried to be like that. Yeah, I know, but it's Bethesda doing Bethesda things. The only reason why Elder Scrolls and Fallout ended up being so good was mods, because vanilla Skyrim, especially Oblivion, and to a lesser extent Morrowind vanilla was okay, but still needed mods to be better. But Oblivion was like straight up dumpster fire, like pretty much unplayable without mods. Just such a disappointment. But it had the bones, and then the modders took it and made it good. Really good. Really good. No, fair enough. With enough mods. Same with Fallout, you know? I mean, Fallout 3 vanilla was, I would argue, still more playable than Oblivion, but also very much needed mods. But yeah, going by Starfield, it's quite likely that the next Elder Scrolls, if it ever comes out, might suck. It's kind of tragic to consider, but it might happen. It just might. And now my problem is, you know, I want to try out a new game, but when I look at my wish list, everything either isn't out yet or is expensive or takes too much time. Yeah, I guess I can show you so you know what I'm talking about. All right, the wish list. Bloodlines 2, who knows when that's gonna come out? Supposedly this year. I believe it when I see it. I mean, okay, here, Titan Quest 2. When that comes out, we're done. When that comes out, because Devin and I played the hell out of it back in the day, like the first one. So that'll be the end of our productivity for a while when this comes out. Tell you what. Baldur's Gate 3 is expensive and very time-consuming. Obviously, it's a brilliant game. But I can't really see myself investing that much time into it. I would like to try that one out. It's just... I'm a stingy bastard when it comes to games. I know 45 isn't all that much, but I still want to wait until it's on sale, you know? Path of Exile 2, yep. Definitely another one of those. Not quite, I don't think it's going to hook us quite as much as Titan Quest 2, but yeah. I've been waiting for that for a hot minute. Oh yeah, hang on. Late April 24, that's actually not that far off. That'll be interesting. Faux show. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Stone Shard? I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. How is it? Bethesda hired a modder for Starfield. Let her fill the game with trash. Literal trash props. What? Usually modders have more respect for the game, but maybe it was a troll job, a very committed one. I don't know. No clue. I'm just trying to think. Have I tried Stone Shard before? I feel like I might have. I can't really think of it. But with my borderline dementia riddled memory, it's like, let me see. I don't have it in my library. Maybe I've played a demo at some point. I might have. I feel like I have played a demo.
A challenging...
Mixed reviews? Yeah, okay, I can see. I have played a demo. which seem pretty good. But yeah, the reviews are not great. Off topic, but I really liked yesterday's video. All right, thank you. I hope the views are going to pick up on that one. Otherwise, yikes. It turned out so well, too. At least I think so. And everybody who saw it was also positive about it. But if the algorithm doesn't agree, it's all for nothing, basically. Yeah, definitely one. This week could end to 1 and 2 HD remaster. Lions of P I would like to try out, but not for $80. Definitely not. Sea of Stars seems really nice for that retro RPG experience, retro JRPG. But I was also going to wait for sale there. These are all yet to come out, as is this September this year. Gothic 1 remake, who knows when that's going to happen. Solarpunk, yeah, doesn't even say. Well, Rogue City is on 40% right now. I'm just not really sure if I really want it, you know? I have it on my list, but I'm not sure. Do I really want it? It seems pretty cool. I'll have to contemplate that some more. This has been on my list for quite a few years, to the point where I don't even know if I want it anymore. Like, last time I looked at it has been a while. Yeah, coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. And soon meaning, who knows, could be years. I don't think I really want this one. Like, it seems cool gameplay-wise, but honestly, I cannot... Oh. The recent reviews are actually mixed. Yikes. I can't get past the aesthetics. It's just... It's hideous, you know? It's too minimalist. I know it's superficial and all, but... Yeah, if the reviews also mixed, like, nah. Did that go through or not? I better do it again. Yeah, still coming. I keep going back and forth with this one. On the one hand, I like it, but on the other hand, this kind of game, I tend to play for a little while, and then I just get too annoyed. It gets too frustrating, you know what I mean? Because I'm not good at micromanagement, and, you know, strategy games where you gotta think quickly on the fly, and I'm more for turn-based strategy where I can take my time to think about what I'm gonna do, you know? It's too much stress and pressure, you know? One of the rare few people who doesn't care about graphics in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. That's good, but I've tried that before. I've tried before to... Sorry, hang on. I've tried before to give a game an honest chance that's supposed to be really good gameplay-wise, that I didn't like in terms of graphics. And I gave it an honest attempt, but then I ended up refunding it after all, because it's just, I'm staring at this visual mess the entire time. If it bothers me, if I hate how it looks, it just colors my enjoyment of the game, you know? It's just too... Yeah, like, it doesn't have to have amazing graphics, but it can't assault my eyeballs. It can't, you know, insult my aesthetic sense. It's just gonna be too bothersome, you know? Yeah, too bad that Nightingale didn't turn out so well. It's apparently a grind fest, and it's tedious because you don't even... Like, the storage in your base isn't even connected. Like, you gotta haul everything from one chest to the other. I hate that so much. Like, I like crafting games and survival, open sandbox, blah, 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 whatever. But when it's tedious and grindy, hell no. That's just a real deal breaker for me. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Well, maybe I should finally get that. I mean, god damn it, it's been out for a long ass time, and it's $15 now. I have no excuse. Especially since there is the Castlevania expansion. I don't know if I really want that. I have a bunch of stuff on my wish list where it's like, yeah, maybe, you know, at some point I might feel like it or whatever, but then I never actually get it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. That seems quite interesting too. I would like to give this a try, but if I'm not sure, I'm not going to spend $45 on it. Classic boomer shooter. That's always good. It's actually a VR Vampire the Masquerade game. Seems intriguing, except that I have no VR legs, as they say. It's, yeah, I can't do it at all without massive motion sickness. I have to really slowly ease into it, which is tedious. Nightingale looked incredibly cool. I agree. I wanted it to be good, but like going by the reviews, I'm not sure I want to give it a try. I would probably give it a try for like $20. But as I said, I'm a bit of a stingy bastard. I mean, you gotta be in this economy, right? If you ever played Phantom Doctrine, it's like XCOM, but with a greater focus on stealth and espionage. You're fighting communists. Fighting communists instead of aliens? That sounds really boring, though. But I'll give it a look. I'll give it a try. I mean, not a try, just a look. You know, there's always this residual slime after you've been sick that just won't leave for a while. That looks... That looks very generic and mundane and boring to me. It might be great. I mean, it's mostly positive. It doesn't sound amazing. But, you know, gameplay-wise, it could still be good, of course. Yeah, I've also been thinking about pulling the trigger on that because I played Tomb Raider 1 and 2 a lot as a teenager and young adult, you know. And HD remaster seems neat. Gone are the pyramids. I think dress up is a vital aspect of realistic military shooters. You need a robust Barbie aspect to be a successful military shooter. That's a great statement, especially out of context. I tried Phantom Doctrine some years back. It was uninspired, if serviceable at best. That's kind of what it looks like, yeah. I played Enshrouded. It's extremely fun to play. I've played it too, and I enjoyed it, but there isn't a whole lot to keep me going, I find. I feel like I should keep just giving it another chance. Hasn't roped me in all that much. But arguably it should. It's normally the kind of game I like, you know? So yeah, maybe I'm just kind of burned out on certain genres. I don't know. Definitely interested in that. That seems pretty awesome, like Secret of Mana remake, successor, whatever this is. Nifty. So yeah, I have a long wish list, but like half of it isn't out. Half of it isn't out, and another third or whatever is too expensive for my taste. Like, Dems the woes. But that's really on me. How about you folks? What are you looking forward to? What's big on your wish list? What do you want to play right now? If you could. Have you heard of a game called On Guard? Yes, it's like a whimsical musketeer fencing kind of game. Didn't seem quite like my thing, but it's seems competently done. And it's a style that you don't see that much nowadays. You know, it used to be whimsical musketeer stuff used to be very common in the 70s and 80s, or even before 60s. Totally want to play the new Stalker. Me too, but we gotta wait a few more months. Right now playing Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. Silk Song. What's that? I haven't heard of it. Let me see here. All right. Hollow Knight, Silk Song. Alrighty. That wasn't on my radar. I know Hollow Knight, but wasn't aware of that. Hades 2, yeah. It's not like there's a lack of good games. It's just, I don't know why it's so hard to get into things these days. Yeah, I know everybody and their dog is playing Helldivers too. I'm generally not much into multiplayer shooters or really online multiplayer in general. But when I do, rather God damn it, rather PvE than PvP. I think the issue with there's no more games attitude is that big titles that attract the most attention are kind of shit and it colors everything. Yeah, I don't have that attitude. I definitely do not think that there are no more good games. I just over time I found it harder and harder to really sink my teeth into a game long term. Like I play games all the time, but these days I often just try a demo or try something out and then refund it because I don't like it enough, or I buy it and then I like it well enough, but then I play it like 30 hours and that's it, which is a shame. It really is a shame. I don't know why either, other than the general thing that my brain is always chasing novelty, and I've played so much that novelty is hard to come by these days, Could just be that. Only thing I'm looking forward to is the Elden Ring DLC. Yeah, I don't think I'm even gonna bother. I did play Elden Ring for a while and enjoyed it, but then eventually it was like, meh, I'm done. The way my brain tends to do it, it's like for a while, oh yeah, this is cool, I'm into it, and then suddenly, boom. Like the switch is flicked and it's like, nah, bored now. Next. I hate to be like that, but it's just that's how it is, I mean, I played Elden Ring for what, 71 hours? Which by my standards is quite a while. That's a long time for me to play a game. Whereas for some of you, it's probably a joke. I think Sekiro might be more your speed. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I want? I want a Fallout style RPG set in the Terminator world. That's what I want. You know, the kind of depth and, you know, more polished ideally than vanilla Fallout on release. But that's what I want. There is a shooter set in that world. What was it called? Terminator Resistance, I think. But it's not that. It's not really, you know, it's more like an open world, semi-open world FPS rather than RPG. And that's what I want. I want that as an RPG. That'd be awesome. There's also a strategy game set in that world that just came out, but unfortunately it's the wrong timeline, you know. Also, I'm not that big into strategy anymore. I used to like it, but real-time strategy these days doesn't really get me all that much, you know. But yeah, like, why did they have to pick the Dark Fate timeline? Like, literally the thing that nobody wants. Nobody wants it. It was horrible. I mean, it seems like the game's a lot better than the damn movie, but that's such a low bar. You don't have to even jump it. You can leisurely step over it. Like, you have to drag your feet to not make it over that bar. That was awful. I mean, like, it made Terminator 3 seem good. 3. Which was such a gigantic disappointment after the masterpiece that was T2. Terminator 3. But now, Dark Fate makes 3 seem perfectly watchable. And I hate that. I just hate that our evaluation of a movie is changed by how much shittier it gets afterwards. Same with Star Wars. You know, now people are, oh, actually the prequels are pretty good. No, the prequels were never good. They're just not quite as dog shit as what's out now. That's my opinion, at least. I'm sure that's how most people handle games and media. It's more of a sign of a disorder if you're doing the same thing for enjoyment over and over again. To an extent, like, there's a certain extreme way of doing it where people are spending thousands of hours on the same game, or also the people who watch the same movie dozens of times. I've never understood that either. Like, have I watched my favorite movies, like T2, several times? Yes, but less than 10 times. Like, I've probably watched Terminator 2 like 4 times, 5 maybe. But some people watch the same movie dozens upon dozens of times. I'm not judging, by the way, just to make that clear. I just don't understand it personally. And some people also play the same game for thousands of hours, and I could never imagine that. You know, like, when I really get hooked by a game, you know, something like, Titan Quest, for example, or Dungeons of Dreadmore, I have a bit over 300 hours in it. And that's over several years, but by my standards, that's insane. Same with Project Zomboid. I have also over 300 hours, again, over multiple years. But some people will put several hundred hours into a game in 1 year. in a few months, maybe even. And I mean, good for them. I wish I could do that in a way, because that'd be great. You know, getting that much enjoyment out of a single game, as opposed to constantly having to try a new game. That would be great. But yeah, to me, that's the difference. Like several hundred hours in a game, to me, that's quote unquote normal. Like that's just really good enjoyment out of a game. Several thousand, I mean, it depends on what it is. Like if it's several thousand hours in a single player game, I'm like, I mean, again, good for you, but several thousand hours in a multiplayer game, yeah, if you're doing it as a regular social thing, you get together with your friends on certain days every week, like, yeah, you can rack that up over the years, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Thousands of hours, yeah, very different in case of multiplayer with friends over the years. That's easy enough to do. I wouldn't do that personally, but I can totally see how that works. You want strategy? Kenshi. You want RPG? Kenshi. You want post-apocalyptic setting? Kenshi. Killer robots? Kenshi. I know everybody rants and raves about Kenshi, how it's such an amazing game, and I really tried to get into it. And yeah, there's stuff there to like, but it feels so bare bones is the wrong word, because there's so much you can do, but it just lacks the polish, I guess is the word. It's like, if you think about how No Man's Sky has been described, vast as an ocean, deep as a puddle. To me, Kenshi is kind of the opposite. Like, it's super deep, but does that make sense? I'm trying to figure out if that makes sense, or if it's not rather the opposite. Because you can do so many. No, it is deep though. No, I think I'm going to stick with it. It's like you can do so many things, but all the things you do aren't as enjoyable, to me at least. I don't know. Even though there's so much going on, the world feels dead to me. Right? Because the NPCs are just kind of wandering about, and you can't really interact with them in a lot of ways. I mean, you can interact with them in gameplay mechanic sort of ways. Like you can enslave people and whatever, this and that and the other, but there's just really no character to it. There's no life to it. It's just all, I don't know. Which, yeah, it's post-apocalyptic. I guess it makes sense that it's dead, but there's some, it's not even necessarily story. I don't really need that much story. It's just, the presentation is so dull that it just, seeing my character run around, do things, it feels bland. You know, does that make sense? Whereas, I don't know, what would be the opposite? Symphony of the Night is, you know, flavorful. Everything just has impact, and it's great to look at, it's engaging, it's, you know, looks and sounds great. And, you know, Skyrim too. In Skyrim, there's also a lot to do, but it feels more alive, more, I don't know, flavorful. I'm just going to stick with that. I view Kenshi as a relative of Factorio, but with more RPG elements dropped into it. It's a game of process optimization. Yeah, I guess. Immersive. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is kind of the thing. Like, Kenshi is not immersive. you're just watching. You might as well watch a bunch of stick figures run around and do stuff. You know, that's how it feels like to me. It's not supposed to be an objective criticism of the game. It's just, it's not doing it for me. You know? And sometimes a game will absolutely occupy me and enslave my mind for a short time, and then that's it. Around Christmas, that happened. That happened kind of big time with Satisfactory. Satisfactory just absolutely exploited my dopamine deprived brain and enslaved me for a few days, where I just played absurd amount, or for like a week or so too, and then that's it. Like, boom, done. I got to a point where, because the thing is, it's one of those games that are not that super high on the fun factor, but they're very high on the addictive factor. You know, did I have some fun with it? Yes, but was it more addictive than fun? Yeah, absolutely. But then I would hit a point where shit gets so complicated. You know, like every time a new resource is added, then you gotta expand the factory, or, you know, just tear it down and build it anew, or build a new one somewhere else and keep optimizing. And yeah, at some point it just gets too tedious and overwhelming for me, where it's just like all the planning ahead that you have to do, it becomes work rather than play, you know. So that's, at some point I hit that level where it's like, no, actually it's not fun. It's just work now. Dyson Sphere program is currently enslaving my brain. Yeah, I've heard of that too. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah. It always happens with Factorio as well, yeah. And I tried a demo of Factorio to see how I would like that, but after having played Satisfactory, Factorio just, no, I did not like the way it handles and operates and feels. Satisfactory was definitely more up my alley, again, for a time. Yeah, actually, Stardew Valley would be kind of the opposite of Kenshi. You can't do as much, but it feels more lively and welcoming, so to speak. More fleshed out, too. Kenshi is like... Am I going to be able to talk myself into it after all? Because I just wanted to say, Kenshi is like a reanimated mammoth skeleton. You know, there's a lot of parts, there's a lot of bones, they're all bare, they have no flesh on them, but there's a lot of bones, and it's a big thing. And it moves, it functions, but it's bare bones, literally. But then again, you know, necromantic stuff usually gets me, so... I still want the perfect Necromancer game. I still want the game where you really utilize necromancy to its fullest and you become totally OP. There are some games that try that, and some, you know, kind of succeed, but nothing that's quite on the level that I would like. Necromantic Industrial Revolution, yeah. That would be another one, like if Elder Scrolls style, but you're a necromancer who can get uber powerful, and you can really permanently change the landscape. Just imagine you're able to walk around in that world, in a Elder Scrolls-like world, and you can summon obscene numbers of the undead, and like everything you encounter, everything you defeat can be resurrected in zombie or skelly form, ideally skelly form. Like in Skyrim, you've just defeated a dragon and you just raise that bitch right on up. Like all of the flesh falls off it and the bone dragon rises and it's now at your command. And then you go lay waste to a village or something. And when you conquer an area, it just all withers and gets dark. You got all the creepy withered trees, and the earth you walk on becomes devoid of life, that sort of thing. But then also like whimsical aspects where you can talk to your skelly minions, and like you can listen to their conversations, like they talk about whatever skellies talk about. Probably not the weather, but that'd be fun. That would be really fun. Is this the channel that used to be called Shenanigans? Yes. Indeed. I might change it again. I don't know. I did also like ADD Ventures. I might change my mind. Who knows? Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I have played Necrosmith. It's just too basic for me. Like the way you put minions together and you have minimal control over it. They basically just roam around. Like, yes, you can send them and you can directly control them, but all they do is just wander around and auto attack everything. I need a bit more complexity than that, You played Arcanum in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, I never did. I had the game on a disc. And then, like, one day I installed it and I played it for, like, 10 minutes. And then I had issues with it. Like, glitches and then some kind of hardware issue. And then I never got around to actually playing it fully. Shame. And now Arcanum was very painful to get through it. I bet. It's such an old RPG. They haven't aged well. There's so much quality of life improvement that happened in game development since then that some of the old games you just can't handle anymore. You just can't tolerate. Unfortunately. It's very janky and has bad combat, yeah. Shame. Like the lore aspect of necromancy and stone shard. Basically, the only way to do necromancy is to lose your will and sanity to become a puppet for dark being beyond the veil. Yeah, no, I don't like that at all. I hate when that... This is not uncommon, but I hate when that's the lore. Or like, in order to do necromancy, you have to be enslaved to a dark puppet. No. I want to be... I want to be the dark mage in charge, I want the freedom to just do whatever the hell I please. I mean, what I want really is a world where I can amass crazy amounts of power, but also where I have like a nice punching bag, like a really despicable faction that I want to just slowly eradicate and eventually curb stomp, and then corrupt and just turn the land that they used to be on into a dead wasteland. You know, like if there was like a crusader faction of absolute crazy religious zealot nutjobs who enslave other people and whatever, and then I waltz in there with my army of the dead and just tear them apart. Yes, that's what I want. That would be fun. Because even though, you know, the problem with necromancers, of course, is they're usually not popular with the goodies, yeah, which is a bit of a discrimination, but I don't actually like evil playthroughs as such, particularly the kind where you just, if you want an evil playthrough, you have to be evil on everything. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the evil guy. Oh, there's a cute puppy. Kick it. No, I don't want that. But yeah, but then you're not evil. It's like, fuck that. No, I want to be selectively evil. Or like, ruthless. Ruthless, but with a good cause. Like, with a good reason. Like, these people are assholes. You gotta kick them. You know? I want, like, loathsome punching bags. I don't want to hurt the good people. I'd be like, okay, so the elves are over there. Yeah, you can have your eco-hippie utopia. I'm not gonna mess with you, all right? Just stay out of my way. We can be on neutral terms. You know, but you over there, I see you. I'm coming for you. That's what I want. One gigabit internet and the stream keeps buffering. Yikes. That's a shame. It shouldn't be like that. Stream health on my end, what I'm seeing here is perfectly good, so that must be YouTube screwing things up. 0 drop frames, nothing going on here. Oh, Pretzel doesn't have any lag. Be like Pretzel. Basically, you want to be a Roman Caesar? No. The Romans wanted to screw everybody over. They wanted to conquer the entire world. See, here's the difference. In a world where the Roman Empire is going around enslaving everybody, my necromantic faction would pick a fight with the Romans. That's the thing. I would kick the Romans' ass and necrofy them. You know, and then with the Celts, I'd be like, okay, you go back to your territories. You do your thing. You know, I've liberated you. Stay out of my way, but I'm not gonna mess with you. Okay. I will side with the underdogs. I would roll in there with my skelly army to, you know, help Carthage before it gets flattened. But then if Carthage rises to power and gets too big and starts to swallow everything up and acts like the Romans, then it's time to cut them down a notch. You know? That's how I would operate. True neutral, almost. Ugh. Gross. How about High Fleet then? The bad guys start a nuclear war and you're there for revenge? Sounds neat. What is that? High Fleet. I've never heard of it. Wow, that looks very retro. Oh, then again, not actually that retro. Yeah, I'll check that out. That looks interesting. I'll definitely check that out. Disgaea had a great selectively evil setting. I've enjoyed Disgaea 5, I want to say. Is it 5? Hang on. Is it 5 or 6? No, it might be 6 actually. No? No, never mind. No, it's gotta be 5. Yeah, 5. Been playing 5 on the Switch, and I like it. It's one of those games that kind of define the genre, because after coming from Disgaea 5 and all the frickin' mechanics it has, everything you can do, then going to other turn-based tactical RPGs, I'm like, wow, that's basic. I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. Lame. So that's a testimony to its quality, I suppose. Necromancers will always be more interested in wherever they can create the most corpses. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Necromancy is the #1 answer to resource scarcity and overpopulation. Not enough resources, too many people, no problem. In fact, reduce, reuse, reanimate. I got this patch for a reason. I haven't decided what to put it on yet, but I will put it on something because this is perfect. That's what you gotta do. Should necromancy make overpopulation worse? No, because skellies don't need housing. They don't use up resources. They don't need to be fed. But they can do a whole lot of work. Necromantic Robin Hood, kind of. I mean, yeah, you know, send your undead minions after the billionaires and redistribute some some funds. My favorite type of setting isn't one where there are good guys and bad guys. My favorites are the ones where there are no good or bad guys, but lots of shades of gray. Yeah, that's the most realistic. That's literally what the real world is. There's no good and bad or good and evil or whatever. It's just a bunch of... I mean, you know, with some exceptions. There are definitely people in the world that can easily be placed in the evil end of the spectrum, and also on the good end of the spectrum. But I feel like as a human being, the furthest you can be on the good side of the spectrum, it's never going to be perfect because humans, you know, we're just flawed. The same way as, you know, the other end of the spectrum, there's no like 100% true evil. You know, there's just never... You know what? I don't even really want to say that. Because then people just start making excuses. It's like, yeah, you know, he was a genocidal dictator, but he liked puppies. That doesn't matter. It's just, no, that's at that point, that's not a redeeming quality. It cannot keep up. You know? But yeah, generally people are somewhere on the spectrum. Not the spectrum, you know what I mean, the good and evil spectrum. Everybody, and then it depends on the time too. Like early in the morning before coffee, I'm definitely capable of some atrocities that I would not commit later in the day. You know what I mean? The usual thing, it depends. There's some variability in everybody. Isn't that right? Sometimes I like some distinction. If every choice is gray, then no choice matters. That's the downfall. That's the danger with this kind of setting where, you know, there's just no satisfying decision because they're all kind of crappy. Which, again, is often how the real world is. But not always. There are situations where there is a good and bad choice. You know, like if you find someone's wallet, there's like, you know, the good choice is return it. The bad choice is take out the money and throw it away. There is an in-between. There is the take the money and return the rest of the wallet and pretend that's how you found it. That is kind of the in-between choice, which is arguably, it's closer toward the good choice, right? Because the worst thing about losing your wallet is having to replace all your crap, like all your ID and whatnot, right? So that's definitely a positive outcome for the person who lost it. I guess the evil option, like the true evil option, would be to burn it or something, or throw it in the harbor. Like there's still... That would be in some games where you want to do the evil run, and you always have to pick the evil option, the evilest of evils. That would be that. In fact, in some games, it would probably be like, you look up the person's address and you go to their house and you set it on fire and then you throw the wallet into the burning house fire. You know, some games are like that. That's ridiculous. There's like the extra super duper evil option, but there's not the extra super duper nice option. What would that even be? Like, add some of your own money and put it in the wallet and then give it back? I don't know. I'll just steal their identity. Yeah. There are too many bad people. The good person finds the wallet already empty. That's possible, yeah. True. Like, someone not so good has already found it before you and just took that out and threw it back. And then you find it and like, yeah, it's empty. Yeah. And I mean, I guess really the evil option here, really the only evil option, like short of going to their house and setting it on fire, like generally the actually evil option would be to throw it in the trash or set it on fire or whatever, because like you can argue that the take out the money but otherwise leave the wallet there is sort of like the evil leaning neutral option. Like, it's a little evil, but it's not like all the way evil, right? Because you still give it a chance to be found by somebody else and return. I mean, there's nothing good about it, obviously. So it's definitely evil, but like not super far into the evil direction. Whereas ignoring it altogether, that would be the neutral response. Just like, well, I didn't see nothing. And I feel like that's kind of the default option for a lot of people. You know, when they see someone in distress, most people's response is the neutral one, like, I didn't see nothing. I'm just going to go on with my day. Realistic evil options, taking out the money and demanding a cash payment for the return. Yeah. Hey, get your wallet. How much is it worth to you? Huh? How much? Yeah, that's pretty evil. Do you take the money, leave the wallet as chaotic neutral? I don't know. To me, the neutral option is to just ignore it. But yeah, you can kind of look at it. Yeah, neutral evil. Yeah, that's a way to put it. What are your thoughts on grave robbing in games? Free loot or no go? Free loot. The dead don't need it. Now, if you're in a tomb and you're about to snatch some loot and the dead rise, maybe it's time to get out of there. Like, even if you can handle them, at that point it's evil, because clearly they have a problem with it. They don't want you to take their stuff, so leave them be. Right? Whereas, like, in the mundane world, I'm not arguing for grave robbing, by the way, just to make that very clear. Technically, it's a victimless crime, but still not something I would advocate for. Although, I suppose you could say the victim would be the relatives, right? If they find out about it, that somebody looted the grave of their dead relative, they might be a little upset. So in that sense, there is actually kind of a victim. Take the wallet, leave the money. That's a chaotic neutral response. Yeah. Take the wallet, leave the money. That's chaotic neutral. That's a crazy option. Yeah. That's the why the hell are you doing that option? Yeah. That makes sense. Or people who want to know their future graves won't be disturbed. Yeah, I mean, but they can't see into the future, so they would be ignorant of that. So, wouldn't really bother them unless they're paranoid. If they're paranoid, then I guess they gotta have their grave reinforced, or just not have grave goods. I don't know. Because to me, it's just wasteful. Just putting a bunch of precious items into the grave, it's just wasteful. You're just removing them, and for what? I mean, obviously religious beliefs, but beyond that, on a pragmatic level, it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, you know, if that's what somebody really wants, if that's like their dying wish, then seems immoral to deny them that, right? Now, if you tell them, yeah, we're totally going to bury you with all your stuff, and then you don't, like, no harm done, I guess. I mean, you're a liar, but technically no harm done. I still wouldn't be comfortable with that. It's just, if you promise somebody something, you do it. It doesn't matter what you think about it. If you don't agree with it, then don't promise it. But if you're going to promise it to them, then just fucking do it. Keep your damn promise, even if they're dead, you know? That's what I think. How old does a grave have to be for it to be archaeology instead of grave robbing? Now, that's a good question. I feel like if it's still young enough that the items are still perfectly usable and valuable, then it's grave robbing. If it's been long enough that they've lost value, or at least lost conventional value, they have a different kind of value for archaeology now, then that's a different story. But I feel like there needs to be at least, say, 100 years in between, at the very least. Ideally, several hundred. A 100 is probably not enough. Several hundred. Extra super nice option is the pornography option, where you return the wallet and then boink them consensually. Okay. So then, like, you you come to the house and a withered old grandma opens the door. Yes, I found your wallet. No, no thanks. Or like a dude, like a sweaty, chunky, middle-aged dude opens the door. Hey, what do you want? Hey, I found you all. No, no, no thanks. I ain't up for that. I think you have like some. I mean, okay, you probably have like a porn version in mind where you open the door, it's like this super hot, busty model opening the door and shenanigans ensue. But the real world doesn't really operate like that, I'm sorry to tell you. That'd be nice. 1 millennium. It's got to be at least 1,000 years. Yeah, I don't know. You should still be able to do archaeological excavations of something from the 1600s, you know? That ain't a millennium. I want it to be mummified, but it's expensive as hell. Just wrap me in TP. Well, in 2020, that would definitely be a burial worthy of a pharaoh with that kind of value. This is still one of the dumbest things that's ever happened, right? Oh, pandemic, let's hoard toilet paper. Of all things. I mean, to be fair, people also hoarded like fucking MREs and, you know, non-perishable food. That makes a little more sense, but TP. In hindsight, the response to that is hilarious anyway. I mean, at one point, we also got wrapped up in the paranoia at one point. Like, there was a video of a doctor who recommended when you bring home your groceries, you put them all in the sink and you wash them all, you know, with like antibacterial laundry detergent. And we actually did that a couple of times. In hindsight, it feels super dumb and paranoid and excessive. But, you know, we did it a couple of times and eventually it was like, what are we doing here? That's ridiculous. That's not how you get it. And yeah, it's not. But at the time, there was just limited information available. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. The difference between grave robbing and archaeology is not just how long it's been, it's also what do you do with it. Yeah, if you take it and you sell it for a profit, it's grave robbing. If you study it and share the knowledge, it's archaeology. Yeah, that's absolutely true, yeah. There's that. Now, if you take it and sell it to a museum or a university, that's a bit in between, but that makes sense. See, that's why it's consensual boinking is the super nice. Yeah, okay, yeah, I see how it would be super nice. You're like, you look like you haven't been laid in a while, which is already an insult. Would you care for some? And they're like, yes, please. Then, okay, yeah, you're being super nice. But there's a good chance that you get the door slammed in your face. Check out Moneybags over here with a 2-ply. Yep. Always the borderline sandpaper stuff they have in public bathrooms, right? The cheapest possible is quite cheap indeed. It's probably recycled too. I cleaned portable toilets during the pandemic. That doesn't sound fun. Sounds no fun at all. It's kind of fun sometimes to think about all the ethical hypotheses or hypotheticals is the word. If you're in this kind of situation, in this sort of fantasy world or even realistic world or whatever, like, what's the good and what's the evil option? There's the easy stuff, like there's the good, neutral, and evil. Like if you walk past a beggar, good option, you give them something. Neutral options, you ignore them. Evil option, you beat them up. Like that's that kind of standard stuff. But they're also more complex situations. Like say like there's a hot half-elf girl or whatever who has a crush on you, and there's a lot of racism in the world, and both the elves and the humans would consider it an abomination if you boinked her. But she wants it. What you do? I know I'm asking like 96% dudes here in the chat on the internet. Of course the answer is boink. Smash it hard. Smash. I know. You can say that because you don't live in a society where there's, elf-human racism. But there's clearly real-life equivalents where this could happen. Pizza beggar, nobody liked that. Actually, no. The rich elite liked that. If you beat up a beggar, all the, the filthy rich and the aristocracy is going to be... I'm a sucker for elf girls, so absolutely smash. Yeah, but keep in mind, she's only a half elf, She's tainted by the human half. Still smash, yeah, I know. Would you say necrophilia is technically a victimless crime? No, I'm the victim. Just knowing about it victimizes me. Just, no. Just the fact that others have to know this happened victimizes them. It's just gross. Hella gross. And of course also traumatizes the relatives. Out of context, Scott's thumbs up. Thumbs up for beating a beggar, yeah. Yep, do not take that out of context. And, I mean, it's the same here. You know, same here. Pretty sure some rich fuck would be like, oh yeah, beat up the damn homeless scum. Oh wait, why did I almost break into a southern accent there? That doesn't make sense. Oh yes, taking care of the rubble, the common filth on the streets. Yes, well done. Yeah. Yeah, you know, everybody likes it when you give beggars coins. But when you rally all the beggars and give them food and clothing and armor and weapons and, you know, let them besiege the rich fuck's castle, then oh, suddenly you're a socialist. What can you do, right? When you teach them how, you know, give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man how to build a guillotine and... Anyway. Hypotheticals. Sounds like a program I can get behind. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people feel like that these days. I wonder why. Totally unjustifiable, right? Like 100%. Who would ever dare? Yeah, build a man a fire. He's warm for a night. Set a man on fire, and he's warm for the rest of his life. It's not wrong. It's funny, it's exactly how one side of the Elder Civil War in Stone Shard started. A random dude organizing the poor. Yeah. Revolution. I literally had the found money problem last night. Credit card in a big city. I opted to leave it there because one, someone might be looking for it and be retracing their steps. Two, could be a setup. Good point. Yeah, it could. If it's not just cash, if it's a credit card, yeah, absolutely. It could be a setup. And yeah, that's something that I've also, like, particularly with things, I mean, basically, if it's anything that you can trace back to the person, where you can't find the person, just leave it there. In fact, I've had that situation once, exactly that situation. I lost my keys, and like merely 20 minutes, I noticed it. 20 minutes after I noticed it, came back for it, gone. I looked everywhere in the area. I know exactly where I lost it, gone. And, you know, I asked, it was in front of a gas station. I asked there, hey, did somebody drop it off? Nope. You know, called the police. I went to check. Nope. Never showed up. I don't know who the hell just picks up keys lying around, just, I don't know, throws them away or keeps them. Beats me, but Some asswanker did. That was fun. It wasn't a big deal. There weren't like super important keys on there, but it was inconvenient. Yeah, some kind of key collector. Oh yes, more keys, random keys that I have no idea what they open for my collection. I mean, some people are weird. What can you do? What can you goddamn do? Child picked them up, didn't realize they were someone's keys. Maybe, yeah, could be. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But yeah. I still want to try a new game. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go for Tomb Raider after all, remastered. I just don't know how I would react to it now. You know, like I loved it back then, but that's been a hot minute. That's been like 30 years. I'm old. Help me. So I don't know if I would still enjoy it. Worth a try, I suppose. So many games, yet it's so hard to find something you want to play. And the answer is not more games, because there are already too many. Give Stone Chart a try. The mixed reviews are because of slow development due to COVID and the current war in Eastern Europe. I guess. Maybe. Because it's been quite a few years since I tried the demo. And it is only $25 right now on a 25% discount. Let me see, what are people saying here? There should be a time limit for early access. You know what? That I agree with, actually. Sort of. Do I? At the same time, Project Zomboid has been in early access for many, many, many years. Yeah, I don't know. I discovered this game around the time I met my wife. Now we have a happy marriage. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that much, because that could be like 3 years ago. Walking from location to location is so boring. It's actual torture. Okay. This game will absolutely irritate you and make you feel like an idiot, and sometimes you have to travel for a very long time because you thought just this once. It's fine, you don't need to sleep at the tavern. You're just making a quick stop. That does sound a bit annoying. Yeah, I don't know. Traversing takes ages, so death can cost you easily half an hour of time. Oh, no, I hate that. That's the kind of thing that I really don't tolerate well. That sounds pretty shitty. Shame. I find myself just going back to old games over and over. Yeah, sometimes I do that too. I mean, you know, I still, to this day, every now and then play Super Castlevania 4 or Super Mario World or various other Super Nintendo games. That's the thing. Does anyone think KCD 2 will ever come out? I don't know. It hasn't been that crazy long, so I think it may very well still happen. Been playing Diablo 2 lately, not Resurrection either. Yeah, with Diablo 2, I'm just so thoroughly done. I don't think I can ever play it again in my life. You know, regardless of whether original or remaster, it's like, no, I played that game way too much back in the day. It's enough. Also, fuck Blizzard. Horrible company, I'm done with them. I don't want to support them any way, shape, or form. So yeah. Half-Life 3? Nah, never. At this point, I'm convinced Half-Life 3 will never come out. They will never ever make it. I'm convinced. Gabe Newell will die before Half-Life 3 comes out, and never happening. Mark my words. I always play Barb, so I'm having fun trying other classes. That's fair. Also, yes, fuck Blizz. That's why I mentioned it wasn't Resurrection. Yeah, good on you. Yep, that's a good call. Why do Valve have an issue with the number 3? I don't know. I guess they're just too happy with the number 2. I don't know. Just ask the nerd what he thinks about number 2s. Bad North. Okay, I haven't heard of that. What's this? There's a demo. I could try that. Although, oh, the game looks... Yikes. It is quite an ugly game. That doesn't mean it's bad. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews, but aesthetics, yikes. This seemed like a pretty neat concept, though. Did you talk about my boxes? I like boxes. I like boxes, too. I don't know what kind of you're talking about them. If you want something that wildly changes RimWorld, check out the Medieval Overhaul mod. Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't tried it, but RimWorld is one of those that I've also played a whole lot, and I think at this point I'm probably done with it. Although I've said that before. You never know. No one likes boxes more than cats. That is very true. You cannot... Nothing you can ever do will make anyone love you anywhere near as much as a cat loves a box. Interesting. I really like the art style of Bad North. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, aesthetics are so personal, subjective, that you can't even say something is ugly, because it may be to you, but not to somebody else. Okay, once Gabe is dead, it'll probably be more likely Half-Life 3 comes out. That actually came to my mind shortly after I said that. I was like, could that actually speed it up? I don't know. Yep. Oh, yeah. The boxes thing. Yeah, right. AVGN versus Nostalgia Critic. I forgot about that part, yeah. Yeah, he sure likes his boxes. Sure likes people crashing through boxes and that appear out of nowhere, yeah. Although he hasn't done it in a hot minute. I mean, he hasn't really done anything that he's really poured himself into. No, okay, that's not true. The Exorcist themed revisit of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He definitely poured himself into that, but overall, yeah, the passion is gone, it seems like. And the anger definitely is gone. And he doesn't really act it out convincingly anymore either. It's, like the mildly annoyed video game nerd now. I want to make a cardboard box castle for my cat. Ford Asshole 2.0. Oh, yes. That makes a lot of sense. Fuck you, I'm a cat. That's how they do. Crimson Nexus. Right, I can't remember what that one looks like again. Let me see here. Huh, weird. No search results? Yeah, I use boxes to hide from soldiers. Yep, Metal Gear style. Who falls for that? It's like, that cardboard box was over there before, now it's right here. Huh, must be the wind. Must have been the wind. I mean, that's just always hilarious in games anyway, in old stealth games. It's like, you shoot someone in the back with an arrow and they're like, who goes there? Must have been the wind. Well, I guess it was nothing. And you shoot them again. Is someone there? Imagination. That's great. What's your opinion on the manosphere? Ugh, the manosphere. Ugh. When someone calls himself an alpha, all I can think of is in game development terms, where the alpha is just bugged out, unfinished, and if it's early access, overpriced. Because yeah, they need some more time in the oven. They need some more work with that kind of mindset. I don't get it. Like, if you're secure, like, if, as a dude, you're not totally insecure. You're like, I'm a dude. So what? Well, you want me to prove it? Fuck you. Like, you don't have to outdo the other dudes. You just do your thing. You just, confidently do your... You don't even have to be confident in fact. Like, you can just be... Just don't obsess over the stick measuring contest, and you're a better man. Period. That's it. If you obsess over it, you got issues. It's completely unnecessary. And of course, part of the whole ideology is also treating women like shit. Which, yeah, that'll make you popular. The chicks go wild for it. You know, if you treat them like trash, like subhuman garbage, to be used and thrown away, they really dig that, you know? Yeah, you go, buddy. You know, faith in humanity. I've never had much, but the internet still manages every now and then to push it down even further. It's like, oh, okay, my almost non-existing expectations have been disappointed yet again. All right, lower the bar. Oh, shit. Did you see that? Did you see that just now? Oh, no. Lower the bar some more. Oh, the humans. I lost my faith in humanity when I was a kid. Yeah. The other thing is also always, to me, quintessential stereotypical boomer humor is, I hate my job, my wife's a dragon, and my kids are annoying. And apparently that's still, my wife's a dragon, that's apparently still a thing. Like, so many dudes talk about this constant struggle where, you know, supposedly the wife is a tyrant and then he has to constantly negotiate the treacherous minefield. I'm like, what? I guess that's what you get when you pick your partner on looks alone or something. I don't understand how that happens. It's like there were no red flags or anything. You just ended up in a controlling, abusive relationship and just like, oh, I don't know, I guess they're all like that. No. No, absolutely not. You can absolutely be in a perfectly healthy, harmonious relationship where you don't constantly bitch at each other and constantly restrict what the other is allowed to do. And you figure things out, you communicate, and you support each other in what you enjoy, and you don't judge each other. It's like, how's that so difficult? I don't get it. Kind of don't like how in sci-fi settings humans are always the average and standard, whereas alien species are hyper-specialized. Could humans be considered the ruthless warrior species for once? Yeah, they should be. They absolutely should be, right? We would be the space orcs. It's always the sci-fi settings always have other more aggressive alien species. But how can you be more aggressive than humans? Like, humans just indiscriminately slaughter and enslave each other and plunder everything and destroy the world they live in, and it's just like, how about aliens that do better? That are wiser? That are not self-destructive like that? Could that be a thing, maybe? In fact, I feel like in order to reach this super high level of advancement, you know what you need? Fucking cooperation. Like, if you're just so violent that you keep infighting all the time, you're not really gonna be a glorious utopian spacefaring civilization, in my opinion. In fact, it really bothers me so much that the Protoss have a history of conflict with one another. It's like they're telepathically linked, for fuck's sake. Why would they do the same dumb tribalistic ape don't like other ape must fight shit that we do? They should be harmonious. Like, come on. There shouldn't be any conflict there. I mean, even the Zerg fight each other because, like, different overlords. What do they have? Different bug politics? So what the fuck? Like, come on. It's ridiculous. They should be unified. And, I mean, the problem is if they were, they would steamroll Terrans. So, I guess for gameplay purposes, you have to create some artificial strife. Because if Zerg or Protoss or both were fully united, humans would be swiped aside. They would have no chance. Humans with their constant infighting against a united front, no. No chance. It's Walter White syndrome. Those guys think if it wasn't for the fam, they would be out banging supermodels. Yes, yeah. Dudes tend to totally overestimate themselves. You know, the confidence of a mediocre guy is off the charts. It's like, how would you rate yourself? I'm an 8. It's like a schlubby, fat, you know, aging, balding, you know, messed up dude with crooked teeth and... Don't mind me. Mine are not super crooked, but they're perfectly straight. But, you know, kind of the stereotype of a gross dude. They're like, oh, I'm an 8. Okay. Okay. Whatever you say, bro. I totally went against a bear hand-to-hand. Yeah, I mean, the most common thing is like average dudes who think they can beat professional fighters. Like, they look at a boxer and like, oh, I could take him. It's like, well, try. Try. It's going to be a fun show. There's a bunch of videos of dudes doing just that. Like, randos picking fights with professional fighters, MMA fighters, or jiu-jitsu guys, or whatever, and just get completely destroyed instantaneously. It's like, yeah, duh. What the fuck did you expect? It's just... how disconnected do you have to be from reality? There even wasn't there even a study that found that average dudes overestimate their fighting ability by 4,000%? Let me see. Is that a real study? Oh, that's The Onion. See, this is my problem with The Onion now. You can't tell anymore. Because reality has become so absurd, you can't parody it anymore. So The Onion is obsolete. Sometimes you see an Onion article and you're like, yeah, that's... I mean, like, the number, the 4,000% is bullshit, but... definitely. If there was a study looking into this, legit, they would find absolutely several 100%. That was the point of StarCraft, wasn't it? Humanity is screwed until they get over themselves. Yeah. That's very true. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're gonna anytime soon. Yeah, it's always those people who challenge the coach of a boxing gym or something, and they talk shit and everything, and then they get absolutely humiliated. It's like, oh, come on, man. It's like, this is somebody who's spent countless hundreds of hours training this. And you think you're some average Joe Schmo, you're going to waltz in there, I can take him. Even if you're taller, even if you're heavier, it doesn't matter. To have some modicum of self-insight, just please, just a tiny bit, okay? But yeah, that's how it is. Have you seen Instagram models who look up dudes who say that they're ugly and fat, and then it's fat, bald incel in his 50s? I haven't seen it, but it's very easy to imagine. Yeah. There's also always the 180 where like a dude is trying to hit on a hot girl and she's not interested. Oh, never mind, you're ugly anyway. Oh yeah, suddenly? Suddenly you think that, yeah. Seems legit. It's like, and dudes often just want, they're looking for the supermodels. Like they're a 3 or a 4 and they want like an 8, 9, 10. And it's like, bruh. Maybe if you're rich, you can make that happen, but otherwise, just be realistic, man. Everybody wants the 10s, but you gotta put some effort into yourself. You know? Says the guy who hasn't shaved today yet. It's on the to-do list, but it's not that bad yet, but it's time. I gotta do that like every other day. Ideally every day, but that's unnecessary. Every other day is just right. Because neck beards are unacceptable. I don't think that looking for supermodels is a problem. The problem is not understanding the consequences and demands of the quest. Yeah. Yeah, like Boogie wanting LA 10s. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the thing is, like, it's not in and of itself wrong to chase after 10s, but like, do it without entitlement, basically. Like, for women, on average, you know, every individual is different. I hate always this, women this and men that. It's like, oh, shut up. Not everybody's the same, but on average, women tend to care a little bit less about looks than men do. Again, on average. And you know, if Quasimodo has a sense of humor, he'll dip his wick and whatever. But that's not really, that's a bit much. But you have to think of it like there's got to be reciprocity. Whether it's a relationship or whether it's something casual, both have to get something out of it. Right? That's the point. Like both are supposed to enjoy themselves. And if you enter it with entitlement of like, yeah, I'm bringing nothing to the table other than my dick. It's no, bruh. There's a little bit more involved. If this is what you're looking for, if you're looking for a 10, then what are you bringing to the table? You know, what is your contribution? But a lot of people don't think about that. And that goes the other way too, by the way. There are also some girls who are like, they just think that just being hot is everything. And, you know, that just means that they need to be constantly catered to and spend all kinds of money on and whatever, just because they're hot. It's like, I mean, yes, you're bringing something to the table because being hot is work. Like, even if someone is naturally attractive, there's still work that goes into it. But there's a little bit more than just that. You can't just be like, yep, here I am. Serve me now. I mean, some people are into that, but you know what I mean, right? There's something fitting that one of my friends quoted from somewhere. Think of how dumb the average person is, then realize that half the people are dumber than that. Wasn't that George Carlin? I think it was George Carlin who said that. Well, yeah. Indeed. Can't remember his name. There's a guy who goes to gyms and challenges the fighters to super light spar and then tries to KO them. Oh, yeah, this piece of shit. Charlie Zelenov or something, I think is his name. Yeah. He has been humiliated a bunch of times. Yep. That guy. What a pest. I just got a Tim Hortons ad. I'm sorry. Tim Hortons is so overrated. Timmy's is hella mid. Like, it's okay, but it's really only so popular because it's everywhere in Canada. Like, Timmy's hella mid. Coffee is meh. Timbits are super mid too. They have some decent stuff, you know. Some of the sugary treats are pretty decent, but overall, mid. Be cool. There are dudes who are a 2 and are with a 9 because they're cool. I think that's pretty rare, though. Like 2 and 9, I feel like is pretty damn rare. It's usually more something like 4 and 8, you know, or like, I don't know, 5 and 9. Or but yeah, every now and then. I mean, you know, at the same time, I feel like someone like Tarantino, it's probably slain. You know, even though he's not blessed in the looks department. He has touched many a foot, you know. He has licked many toes. Probably. Ew. I mean, you know, I don't understand foot fetishes at all, but at least they're harmless, you know. It's like, there are way worse things. It's just confusing. Tarantino's kind of lost relevance these days. Yeah, it was an edgy 90s thing mainly. That's true. Women have weird tastes and how men should look, really. I'm kind of perplexed by my wife's taste in men. Okay. What's perplexing about it? If you can talk about it without, you know, talking shit behind her back. Don't knock it till you try it. Dip a toe in. Mm-hmm. Do you have Arby's in Canada? No, at least not here. Maybe in Ontario? Because there are some food chains that are in Ontario, but not here. Oh. Apparently I'm wrong. There is actually an Arby's in Nova Scotia. There is actually one, a single one. I've never been there. How is it? I've heard good things about it. What do they actually have? Do they have anything I'd want to eat? No. Everything meat, huh? Curly fry poutine. That looks pretty good. But otherwise, the shakes look pretty good. But otherwise, yeah, there's beef, pork, chicken. They don't even have fish. Okay, yeah. Alright, not for me then. Tarantino is a phenomenal director. He sure is, yeah. Or in Japan, where they're all supposedly perverts. What do you mean, supposedly? Have you watched anime? I'm just joking. You said to yourself that you're a gun nut in addition to being a sword nut. Have you tried airsoft? Yes. A long time ago, like 20 years ago. Any local clubs where you could play it? I don't know. Haven't really looked into it lately. What was the best food find since moving to Atlantic Canada? That would have to be Halifax, Donair, but a specific kind. What's it called? There's a place called Wild Leek, which is like a vegetarian place. They do a donair wrap, which is fantastic. That one's really good. But there's still some food places in Victoria that I still miss. One of them, unfortunately, isn't even around anymore. It was closed. It was a place called Lotus Pond. Ah, the food was so good, but yeah, it has closed anyway. The thing is, though, with the Halifax Donair, the one thing I really don't like about it is the sauce, like the sweet sauce. Meh. To me, it's a perversion because it's supposed to be made with tzatziki, and the donair sauce, bleh. This weird, like, liquidy frosting almost, dessert sauce. Like, this does not belong on there. But the one at Wild Leek isn't like that. It's not sweet, so. Hey, baklava, yeah, me too. But man, is it expensive. Baklava is really, I mean, it's always been pricey, but these days with the prices now, obscene. Oh, I actually have more water in there. Good. I'll have shortbread instead. Shortbread is good. Chocolate dipped shortbread. There's way too much good food, you know. And some of it is only good in the flavor sense, not good for you, unfortunately. Most things that taste good are not good for you. Such a sad fact. Can't I live in a universe where things that are good for you actually taste good? That'd be nice. Can I just hop over to a different dimension where that's the case, please? I've heard of deep fried Mars bars. Seems absolutely perverted to me, but I've wanted to try it for a long time, even though it's ridiculous, but no, I'm not gonna. Because now I've committed to saying that, well, I'm a food junkie and I need to just deprive myself of certain things because otherwise I'll never be able to control this. And deep fried Snickers or Mars is definitely not on the menu. That's like the definition of trigger food for eating disorder. Suddenly getting tired here. Oh, that actually makes sense. Caffeine's wearing off. That makes sense. Creating foods is like spreading points for an RPG character. Can put only so many points into flavor without losing on cost and healthiness. Yeah, pretty much. You can have easy, healthy, or cheap. You can't have all three. Sometimes you can manage 2 out of 3, but you can never have all 3. And yeah, I kind of omitted tasty, didn't I? It's actually 4. It's easy, cheap, healthy, tasty. You can have 2 out of 4. Maybe 3 if you end up finding a way to cheat. But you can't have all 4. You can have tasty, healthy meals, which are expensive. Either expensive or take a lot of time and effort to make. Or you can have something, something tasty and quick that's unhealthy, or, cheap and quick, it doesn't taste good and it's not healthy, and yeah, whatever. We should send you some boxes with food from the countries we live in. I would love that, but I shouldn't, because a lot of this is probably not going to be healthy stuff that's conducive to fat loss. I would very much enjoy that, but probably not a good idea. It's disturbing how much easier it is to eat both healthy and tasty if you've got money. Yes. If you have a shit ton of money to throw at it, it's not really much of a problem. Yeah, mac and cheese is tasty, easy, and cheap, but certainly not healthy. I mean, tasty, it also depends. Some of the mac and cheese you get is just kind of meh. Not gross as such, but very mediocre. Craft dinner, yeah, exactly. Blessed with fast metabolism. Oh yeah, it's good for you. I'm starting to feel it slow down as I age. Oh yeah, I've had that problem recently. I've been logging and eating what I'm supposed to lose about 700 grams a week. And I've been sticking to it, and it doesn't really work the way it's supposed to and the way it used to. Like, it's just like 1 week I lose like half a kilo or so, but then the next it stays more or less the same. Then it goes up a little bit, then it goes down. It's like, I'm losing my mind here. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm already eating way less. I'm hungry for half the day, and meh. And then I try to adjust it. If I'm like, okay, maybe it's too low, I adjust it a little bit. Meh, no, I can only guess I need to work out more, but not too much, because then I get sick. Yay. Self-greenhouse grown kale/romaine, not easy, not cheap, or taste. Wait, not cheap? Yeah, rice and beans is like the standard. Rice and beans is the quintessential poor man's meal, which is filling and somewhat nutritious. Ideally, you would add some more veggies and some source of protein, but it's as a bare minimum, it works, and can beat that in price. Electricity, supplies, effort. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's definitely, now in my 40s, it's definitely harder. And it's only the start of the 40s. It's gonna get so much worse, isn't it? Ah, help. What can you do? This struggle continues. What about your treadmill? I'm not using it yet because I'm still messed up after I got violently sick. I'm just kind of, I mean, violently is maybe a bit overstated, but I was pretty messed up from the flu or whatever it was. And I'm kind of easing into it. Like I'm at the standing desk now, so I'm standing for now, and then soon I'm gonna start doing the treadmill again, but still feeling pretty weak. What can you do? Play video games, yeah. You know what? I should. I mean, should is the wrong word, but yeah, I think I'll do that. Been streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's pretty decent. By my standards, at least. I'm not one of those people who can just be streaming for 8 hours. I have no idea how people manage that. I would lose my voice before making it through it, but you gotta respect the stamina. Anyway, hope you're doing well. I hope you had fun. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll talk to you again soon-ish.